From Dolphin Soccer Park on the campus of the College of Staten Island, CSI Sportsnet is proud to welcome you into NCAA Division II men's soccer coverage. In today's non-conference matchup, the College of Staten Island Dolphins take on the Bloomfield College Bears in their 2023 season opener. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Joe Foreman, once again joined by my broadcast partner, Aaron Cohen. And Aaron, you had the call for the second half of our first game today between the College of Staten Island women's soccer team and St. Michael's College. The Dolphins battled the Purple Knights to a 0-0 draw in what was a very intense back-and-forth game.
That's right, and the first half was a pretty even affair. Both teams had their fair share of chances, but in the second half, CSI was really pushed up against the wall. They were fighting for the draw. They couldn't really get anything in attack, couldn't build out the back at all. The press from St. Michael's was very effective, but they did manage to hold the clean sheet and squeak out a point.
Clean sheet in net for Brianna Dorr in the 0-0 draw for the Dolphins during the women's game earlier today. The men will now take the pitch here at Dolphin Soccer Park for the first time this season. The Dolphins are coming off of a 4-11-2 season last year. They went 2-4-2 in conference play, but more importantly for them, they entered the stretch run of the 2022 season with a chance to make the postseason. They ultimately fell short. A lot of close competitive soccer played down the stretch by the Dolphins, but that was not enough. Of course, they opened the season in non-conference play today against a Bloomfield team that they've had a lot of success against in the past. Yeah, this is a favorable matchup for the Dolphins.
They played exactly a year ago today. It was a 1-0 win for CSI, and they also played in 2021. That was a mid-September game. That was also a win for the Dolphins, so hoping to make that 3 wins in 3 years. History beyond that is pretty favorable. 6-0-1 all-time versus Bloomfield. Never lost to them.
Dolphins returning about half of their roster from last year, including several key players, 3 of whom will be sporting a captain's armband today. Amari Thompson, Leandro Angulo, and the longest-tenured Dolphin, Daniel Angulo, will be wearing the captain's armbands today. And Thompson, coming off of a very impressive freshman season, he was even better than he was overall here at Dolphin Soccer Park. Did not allow more than 2 goals in a game for much of the season here at home. He was very impressive here on the turf at the College of Staten Island. He, of course, will be in net for the Dolphins today. Alex Kuba returns as head coach for his second season. He's added a new associate head coach in Donato Kirchi, as well as a new assistant coach in Michael Marr. So some turnover on the coaching staff as well. And for the Dolphins, they hope to build upon a season during which, as I mentioned before, they had the opportunity to qualify for the postseason entering their last 4 games. And as we mentioned earlier today, Aaron, the playoff field does expand from 4 teams to 6 teams in the East Coast Conference this season. That certainly will be of a benefit to this Dolphins team. However, DeUville University is now eligible for the postseason this year. That's something the Dolphins will have to contend with. That being said, the ECC did have a lot of success against DeUville last year, so we will see how the rest of the conference fares against the Saints and how the Dolphins fare to open up their 2023 season. Starters are being introduced out on the pitch, so I will get you the starters for the College of Staten Island in numerical order. The CSI starters: number 2, Michael Garcia; number 4, Luis Asensio Cueva; number 5, Franklin Shehu; number 7, Daniel Angulo; number 8, Brian Kiralu; number 9, Fortune Uzo; number 10, Raul Naranjo; number 17, Leandro Angulo; number 18, Brendan McGuire; number 23, Benjamin Hernandez; and number 30, Amari Thompson. Starters for the visiting Bears of Bloomfield College. The goalkeeper will be number 1, Jomar Vizcano. The rest of the starters in numerical order for the Bears: number 3, Christian Mariguin; number 4, Malik Yusuf; number 6, Anthony Munoz; number 8, Arsenio Dimitru; number 10, Marvin Munoz; number 11, Matisse Seguil; number 16, Matthew Stewart; number 19, Ronaldo St. Bernard; number 21, Aiden Mancia; and number 35, Haytam Tuma. Those are the starters for the Bloomfield College Bears. And Aaron, we spoke about it already. A lot of success for this Dolphins team against Bloomfield, but these are two teams that didn't score much last year. The Dolphins allowed about a goal per game more than the Bears, but Thompson, as I mentioned before, has been so good here at home. The Dolphins hope that trend continues here in their opener.
Yeah, porous defense was definitely an issue for the Dolphins. Conceded 38 goals throughout the season, scored 16. So, not a favorable ratio, but lots of turnover. 14 freshmen and 2 transfers. 14 freshmen and 1 transfer coming in. So you never really know what this new team might look like. Bloomfield scored even less goals. They scored 11 goals throughout the entirety of last year, but they conceded far fewer as well. They only conceded 24. So it looks like you can expect Bloomfield to be relatively solid on the defense and timid in the attack.
And Aaron, we are going to take a quick break for the playing of the national anthem. When we come back, Dolphins and the Bears on CSI Sportsnet.
Kettle Black on Staten Island, a top 5 wing joint in America by Food and Wine magazine. Serving daily lunch and dinner at the bar or on the floor. Perfect for family and group parties with top shelf drink and delicious food. From great times with good friends. Live sports and watch parties. To Staten Island's hottest nightlife. The Kettle Black features live music and DJs weekly. The Kettle Black features daily and nightly food and drink specials. The best Staten Island has to offer is at the Kettle Black. We'll see you there at the Kettle Black, located on 415 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
And we are back from Dolphin Soccer Park on the campus of the College of Staten Island. Joe Foreman rejoining you alongside Aaron Cohen with the call of today's men's soccer season opener. The Dolphins take on the Bloomfield College Bears in their first match of the 2023 season. The Dolphins faced Bloomfield in their second game of 2022, and as we mentioned before, the Dolphins took the win in that game 1-0. That was the Dolphins' only win until late September last year. The Dolphins opened their season 1-6 before picking up back-to-back wins in late September and early October over St. Thomas Aquinas College and D'Youville University. Dolphins hope to get their season started with a victory against the team that, as we mentioned, they have played very well against, unbeaten against the Bears. They played to 1 draw. We saw a draw earlier today in the women's game, but that game had all of the intensity and high-paced play you'd come to expect in a season opener. A lot of fresh legs out there on the pitch, and it was a very entertaining game. Unfortunately, I missed half the call. Aaron, you did a great job carrying our viewers through to the finish.
Thank you very much. I'm very interested to see what the Dolphins have to offer. The biggest thing to be watching for the fans, not just this game but throughout the season, will be how the Dolphins go about replacing the contributions of Nick Kishenko. Was their top goal scorer from last season, had 4 goals. He has transferred to the University of North Florida, so no longer on the roster. And it's never ideal for a team to lose their top goal scorer from the previous season, but there's a lot of unknown potentially in the positive for the Dolphins. The one transfer, Raul Naranjo, he's a junior. He played at St. Francis Brooklyn and was even having a pro contract in Cyprus, of all places. Very interesting development. So he is a new forward for the team, potentially could do some of the goal scoring that Kishenko provided from last season, but only time will tell. A lot of unknowns.
Speaking of goal scoring, the Dolphins do return their second leading goal scorer and leading point scorer, captain and the longest tenured Dolphin, number 7, Daniel Angulo. We've seen plenty of him the last several seasons operating out of the midfield for the College of Staten Island. He is such a big part of what this team has become over the last several seasons. One last chance for him as a senior to earn a berth in the postseason for the Dolphins as an NCAA Division II program. The Dolphins were not eligible for the postseason during Angulo's freshman year. They became eligible for the first time in his career last season and will look to make the most of that opportunity here in 2023 as we are underway from Dolphins Soccer Park. Two teams trading possession in the midfield as that ball sent up into the air, and Dolphins bring it in. Now, we got a pronunciation guide from the women. We didn't get one from the men yet, so we're going to do our best with what we have. Not too many tough names on this men's soccer roster, but one of them, I believe, Franklin Shehu would be how that's pronounced, but I hope that's correct. That's what I'll go with today, and we'll try and get confirmation ahead of the next men's soccer game. But nonetheless, he wears number 5, one of the Dolphin backers who got a touch just moments ago. Throw in for CSI, chipped in the air by McGuire. Fortune Uzo gets to it, and he knocks it over the far sideline.
Lots of new looks here for the Dolphins, considering it's relatively new setup with a lot of new players. Could be a different tactical approach than last season.
5 of the 11 Dolphin starters, newcomers to this roster. So, in terms of field players, an even split. As Naranjo went down in the box there, Dolphins wanted a foul call. They don't get it.
Not a lot of contact there. It looks like Naranjo is trying to sell the little bit of arm pulling that was there, but the ref didn't deem it to be enough.
And as the Dolphins throw, we'll get a quick look at that last play. We'll let our viewers decide. Now, following this game, we're going to go to work on our Huddle Focus camera and try and reorient the zoom settings. Didn't want to play with it in between games and encounter an issue that would take us offline ahead of this game. But as soon as this game is over, we're going to get to work and see if we can eliminate the black bars at the bottom and top of the screen. Those were not there last year. So I'm not sure what happened during the offseason with a potential change in the settings of the camera. However, as you see on your screen right now, there is some of the camera visible in the shot, and we hope to change that ahead of our next game.
Looks like CSI is going to get a corner, first corner kick of the game.
2 Dolphins lined up over the ball right now. Dolphins played short out of the corner, as that is sent on goal and saved. Vizcaino stops the shot by Angulo, and what a shot it was.
So much power in that hit.
And the clock is stopped as we have a player down in the corner. And while we have a break in the action, we'll get a look at that last shot a second time.
Yeah, not a really particularly good angle to shoot from, a little bit far wide, but when you get that much venom on it, you never really know what could happen. And as you can see, the keeper couldn't even catch it. He had to beat it away.
Now, how much of a role does the element of surprise play on a shot like that, where the keeper had to react in an instant, and you don't get your hands up, that could be a very costly save.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, he also had the benefit of shooting through a crowd of people, and you never know, the goalie's vision could be blocked, and maybe he can't react in time.
So this is a free kick for the Dolphins to be taken from just about a yard or two away from the corner flag.
Essentially a second corner.
Once again, they play it to Angulo as we have 2 players tangled up. That's on goal, and it is saved, but the flag is up, and offsides was called against the Dolphins. Another great chance.
That was an interesting offside call because I believe it was called on number 17, Leandro Angulo, but he didn't really affect the play that much. The referee could have held his whistle on that one, I think.
Right now, our video feed appears to have cut away. Not exactly sure what happened. We'll have to try and get that back. And there it is. So it's possible that our camera missed that last whistle, and sometimes that's the product of a camera operating via an internet connection. In the past, we've had a camera operator on the roof operating our camera manually, but given the orientation of the camera last year, we were all good with the huddle focus and the view it provided. Right now, not so much. Quite a bit of black on that screen.
Yeah, it looks like it's not working as intended. Although, thankfully, it's not obstructing the action.
Free kick coming up for the Bears here. That sent it to the attacking third a long way. Shehu back waiting for it, got a head on it. It's bodied by a couple of Bears. And Leandro Angulo clears it. He has McGuire. McGuire got a piece. Uzo with a burst of speed toward goal. It's saved. And it's punched away by Vizcaino. Good awareness to punch that ball away and disallow a rebound chance.
Well, I'll tell you what. He is extremely quick because, frankly, that ball should have been dealt with by the center backs. They just let it bounce one too many times, and all of a sudden, Uzo was on it in a flash. Extremely impressive.
He was able to squeeze his way through a couple of those backers, had to contort his body as that's a good ball. Naranjo and Uzo. This is Uzo sending it in front. He has a man open, and the Dolphins score for the first time this season. Benjamin Hernandez. He scored twice during one of the preseason scrimmages, and just over 5 minutes into this first half, the Dolphins have a 1-0 lead.
Lightning quick. I mean, after seeing that burst of pace from Uzo just a minute ago, it's no surprise to see that he was involved in the first goal. And it just in general looks like Bloomfield's defense doesn't know how to deal with the speed that the Dolphins are providing right now. One ball over the top, and all of a sudden it was a 3 on nobody. And all Uzo had to do was play the ball back across to Hernandez, and he had an open goal. Easiest goal he'll get in his career.
The Dolphins were applying heavy pressure those last couple of minutes, and you got the sense that they were closing in on an opportunity just like that. They get it, and they take full advantage to go in front by a goal.
After the women's game, in which CSI really had their best opportunities in the first 15 minutes but failed to take advantage of that, it's nice to see the men's team not only putting on similar pressure but actually getting something out of it.
We've seen Hernandez make an impact very early in his Dolphins tenure. First regular season game with CSI. First goal scored at 39:36 remaining in half number one. Officially, the Dolphins lead by 1 as we have some jawing back and forth between the two sides following a Dolphins foul.
Yeah, getting a goal in the first 6 minutes of your career is a great way to get off the starting block.
And not only have the Dolphins registered the game's first goal, they have dominated possession early in this game.
I was going to note earlier about the size of the Bloomfield center backs. Very, very tall. That would be Tuma and Yusuf, who are 6'4" and 6'3" respectively. But it seems like their height limits their pace.
We've seen it already. The Dolphins with a lot of speed at the forward spots, and they've made full use of that early in this game. Angulo, strong challenge there by St. Bernard, but Bloomfield sends one up over the fence behind the Dolphins' goal now. Aaron, what do you think of that new goalkeeper's kit for Amari Thompson, the gold kit?
I think it's really nice. Good contrast from the blue. It stands out, but it's not too bright. Very subtle, very, very good looking.
In the past, we've seen Volt yellow, and we've seen black, solid black with some Columbia blue stripes. I think there may have been a pink kit as well. So there's a lot of variety.
Black goalkeeper kits are difficult because so many teams, such as Bloomfield right here, wear black for their regular kits. So it's good to see a move away from that.
Now, I think the door has been closed on the Dolphins' white-on-white jerseys. From what I was told, those are now a memory. You weren't with us last year, Aaron, but you may have done PA for one game. Did you here at soccer?
Not for a soccer game.
Not for soccer. Well, last year the Dolphins had white kits with white numbers that had a Columbia blue border, and we had a lot of fun complaining about those. So one final time I had to get that in. We're very thankful that those kits have been retired.
You know, I feel like when people make kits, they don't often think about the stats people that have to view the numbers from far away.
That's right, Aaron. They don't think about the stats people.
But we do. Because
I certainly do.
We are those people.
I thought so much of the stats people that I missed the second half in game 1. Vizcaino has it. McGuire closing in. He gets rid of it and nearly conceded a corner. Tuma trying to get out of there, and he can't as the ball deflects off of him, and the Dolphins earn a throw.
Tried to dribble around the pressing attacker there in Hernandez, but just doesn't have the dexterity for that.
McGuire has it off the throw, drops it off to Hernandez, and that is cleared a long way up into the bleachers.
So energetic they are. The Dolphins, I mean, just all over the Bloomfield defenders. It's very impressive.
Hernandez gets tangled up and has it taken away. Dimitru avoided a marker. He's now stuck between a pair of Dolphins, goes down, play continues, and finally the whistle blows.
Not allowed to play the ball on the ground like that in NCAA.
And I think that's what the official is telling him. Now we have Nick Durst, our resident umpire, who's worked with us here on Sportsnet. Are you our resident soccer official?
I suppose I could take that mantle. I'm familiar with the rules of the game, that's for sure. You know, having some experience in college soccer myself, that helps out.
I was hoping you'd say that you've officiated some games. I was really hoping that was the case.
Officiating's a whole different animal.
We would need a referee then for basketball. And we'd cover the 3 commentator broadcasted sports.
I have considered becoming an official, but there's a lot of yelling that happens.
Thankless job.
Parents. Yep.
That is a tough job. Because I'll tell you right now, I can't recall more than 1 or 2 occasions where here on the broadcast we've had commentators praising the officials. I try not to criticize, but it's very rare that a commentator goes out of his way to praise the official. You don't see it much.
That's very true, especially for the home side. You know, you want the calls to be accurate, and when they're not, the rest are going to hear it. And when they're doing what they're supposed to do, they don't really get the praise for doing their job.
What I like to say when I'm on the call, whenever there's some complaints coming from the crowd, aspiring officials among the spectators. This is Garcia. Good move to avoid a challenge. He might have a step here, and he tried to center that ball in front, could not, but the Bears are forced to send it off a Dolphin. Thought for a moment they had conceded the corner, but nicely done to play that ball off a CSI attacker.
Garcia, another one of these freshmen, another person who is incredibly pacey. I mean, the Bloomfield defender just had no answer for how quickly he was able to move side to side.
And you love to see that from one of your outside backers, able to dribble like that and potentially set up a scoring chance in front. Took that ball all the way inside.
It's becoming clear with Uzo, Hernandez, and Garcia, at the very least, that the priority for this recruiting class was speed.
You can check that box. Bears look to move up the far sideline. That one was redirected in the air by Mencia.
That was very impressive.
He's got it back now. Mencia toward the far side. A lot of blue jerseys around Dimitru. He nearly coughed it up. Man goes down there. I believe that was Munoz. And now the Dolphins with a chance to counter. But McGuire had it taken away. Good play there by St. Bernard to break up that Dolphins attack. And he promptly takes down Leandro Angulo.
Seeming like this Bloomfield midfield is not very balanced. All of their midfielders like to move forwards. And so if the Dolphins can win the ball in the midfield, it affords them a lot of space on that counter. They just haven't, in the past few opportunities, haven't been able to capitalize.
Free kick Staten Island as we have a whistle. And I think Marvin Munoz may be jawing with a Dolphin.
One thing to note about this Bloomfield team is that they had 40 yellow cards last year.
Wow.
This is a team that is not going to play cleanly.
Well, that's a not so subtle way to put it. What would you think if I told you the Dolphins had more?
I would say we're in for quite an interesting game.
41. Question is, how many games did each side play? This is Uzo chasing it toward the touchline, and he cannot keep it in play.
I believe that puts us at a tally of 81 total yellow cards in 34 total games played for both these teams combined.
Dolphins last year played 17 games. Bloomfield last season played 17 games. That's a lot of yellow cards. Hernandez for Naranjo. For Angulo, shot blocked. Good chance there for Daniel Angulo. He was set up nicely, and the Dolphins have moved the ball really well in the attacking third.
And that's exactly what they've been trying to do right in that instance is get towards the end line and cut the ball back, working exactly to plan. Just Angulo's shot couldn't get all the way through to goal. First time effort. Who knows where it would have ended up, but we will never find out.
I think on goal is a safe bet.
It did seem like it was angling towards the far corner.
Angulo, an accurate shooter. Hernandez toward Naranjo and Kiralu. It's chipped in the air by Angulo, well wide. Goal kick-up coming for the Bears. I mentioned before Angulo leading the Dolphins in points last year. 3 goals, 3 assists. Scored those 3 goals on just 10 shots on goal. That was tied for second on this Dolphins team as we have an early yellow card, one against Angulo and another against Marvin Munoz. I believe both received a booking there.
Well, isn't that on brand for what we were just discussing?
Sure is.
And Marvin Munoz, by the way, was the top returning performer for Bloomfield. Had 2 goals and 2 assists. But unlike Angulo, he had 35 shots taken. So a slightly different approach to goal scoring.
If I recall correctly, Angulo had a beautiful goal last year on a free kick. Just so impressive. And when he gets those opportunities within a few yards of the penalty area, he typically gets a very quality shot off toward goal and definitely makes the opposition sweat just a bit. No easy chances for the goalkeepers.
And that's such a valuable quality, especially in the college game, to be able to consistently at least get things on target. Not a lot of players are able to do that.
Angulo taken down. Free kick Dolphins. How about this? Free kick coming up a bit further than the area of the field I was referencing, but not by much. And we'll see if Angulo lines up to take this one.
You know, we saw taken short.
Well, he took it quickly. And was it too quickly for the official? It was. Now, we've seen that from time to time where these players like to get those free kicks off quickly, and oftentimes it's too quickly for the head official.
Referee's got to do his thing and set up. Usually if you want to take quick free kicks, you got to make sure the referee's keyed into that. A lot of times captains will tell the referee before the game starts that they'd like to take them quick. That way the referee is constantly ready. Not so much here.
Angulo's free kick sent in front off the body of Naranjo, who was offsides. Wow.
What an opportunity. Seems like Naranjo went a little bit early, but clearly was what they were trying to prepare for.
He found himself in a very unorthodox body position, and we will get a second look at that last attempt once we have a stoppage. Battle for possession along that far sideline, and Asensio Cueva wins it. So Dolphins will throw in, and we'll get a second look at that last attempt. Now you have to keep in mind something else I forgot to mention earlier. When we utilize replay, we perhaps may have our audio a bit behind the action we're commentating on the replay. Our Huddle Focus camera has a 3-second delay. So when we input the replay, we still have that 3-second audio delay that we use to compensate for the camera. So we do apologize if it sounds like our commentary over the replays is a bit off, but that's the reason.
Center referee seems to have something else to deal with.
Over 80 yellow cards between these two teams last year. I think that's a pretty good indication that we're in for a physical game, and these two sides haven't disappointed early in this one.
Not only a physical game, but I think there's going to be a lot of chatter between the players. I think we've already started to see that.
And we get that just about every game.
That's a good way to rack up yellow cards, so it makes sense.
You throw out a bunch of late teens and early 20-somethings on the field, you're going to get that jawing each and every time. Dolphins have it off the free kick. They work up the far sideline. That's played ahead toward Uzo. Vizcaino gives chase, and he plays it on a hop.
That's going to continue to be dangerous for the Dolphins all game unless Bloomfield can figure out a way to handle it, because having Uzo running one-on-one with the defender, he's going to win that race every single time.
Naranjo toward the corner. Looking to cross. It's blocked, and the Dolphins will throw. Dolphins looking for somewhere to throw it. Find Angulo. Another chance to cross here. And that's high and wide. Goal kick upcoming for the Bears as we approach 19 minutes gone by in this first half. Officially about 25:50 on the clock here at Dolphin Soccer Park. The time on our broadcast, not official. Several players try to get ahead on that ball in the midfield. It winds up with Munoz. Plays it to his backer. Yusuf off the mark with that ball. And the Dolphins will throw in again. Dolphins have really done a great job controlling possession early in this game. And as a result, every scoring chance has gone their way. 4 shots on goal, all belong to the Dolphins. CSI has attempted the only 2 corner kicks. And Bloomfield is left looking for answers for the Dolphins' speed. That's headed by McGuire and then Angulo. McGuire gets it to Angulo. Now Garcia. Hernandez wants it. He is onside. Now, we may not commend officiating, but Benjamin Hernandez gave the official a thumbs up there. Did you catch that?
I did not, but that's good to see. I personally thought that Hernandez was offside. Clearly the linesman has a better view, and Hernandez was happy to see that the linesman made the correct call. Unfortunately, Hernandez couldn't get to the through ball anyway.
Angulo for Kirilu. Now Asensio Cueva with a lot of space in front of him. Into the attacking third. Looking for somewhere to go with it. Finds McGuire. McGuire for Uzo. Left-footed shot is saved. Rebound ricochets outside of the penalty area. Kirilu is taken down. And we may have a foul against the Bears here, which would give the Dolphins a free kick in a dangerous spot.
Seeing a bit of a different side of the Dolphins' attack. We already know that they are able to get in behind with that speed, but not only can they do that, but they have players that can operate in tight spaces when the defense is a little bit more compact. Brendan McGuire there showing great feet and finding a pass in the box.
And that attempted shot, I believe, was blocked. That did not have the trajectory of a cross. Here's a look at the last shot by Uzo that was saved. And were it not for Vizcaino, this game could very easily be 2-0. He's made a couple of tough saves. Nothing doing off the corner for the Dolphins. The ball was immediately cleared out of the box.
Dolphins have been trying these varied corner tactics, some short corners, some non-traditional deliveries, but it's not really working. Might be good to go back to the regular deep cross.
We are closing in on the midway point here in this first half, as the Dolphins send that one over the far side out of play. If Bloomfield can keep this game within a goal, you're always just one big play away from getting even, but the Dolphins have had their foot firmly on the gas early in this one as McGuire, with some nifty dribbling there, tried the spin but could not maintain possession.
McGuire, one of the only forward players that isn't a freshman. A lot of freshman representation in the starting 11, which is a really great sign for not only the rest of this season as those freshmen continue to adjust to college ball, but for the next few years.
I'm going to have to double check. Sometimes it's a bit difficult to keep track of each year's seniors. I haven't done the senior day speeches in a while. I've written them, but have not actually presented those. If I'm not mistaken, the Dolphins had just one senior recognized on senior day last year. I believe that was Javier Campos, which makes it even more surprising that there is so much freshman representation in the starting lineup.
Well, what's interesting is that last year the Dolphins had 13 freshmen. However, only 7 of those 13 freshmen from last year have returned. In total, of the 26 non-seniors from last year's team, only 12 are returning.
So about half, and that would make sense when you look at the starting lineup. Half the lineup comprised of new players, and I just did double check. Campos was the lone Dolphin senior last year.
So, very fascinating, because as much turnover as the women's team had, the men's team had more.
Another Dolphin yet to check into the game, who also joins Daniel Angulo as a member of this program since 2019, Jamali Peterson. Haven't seen him yet. But Peterson and Angulo, two Dolphins who have been here since 2019. That, of course, the year the Dolphins first announced that they were going Division II. And there's a takeaway by Uzo. He was all over that ball. Moving toward the touchline, tried to cross, and it is deflected out of play, and the Dolphins will have yet another corner kick as we approach 20 minutes to play in this first half.
If you're a defender with the ball in your own half, you got to be careful with Uzo around. Every pass has to be accurate, or else he'll be jumping on it.
Angulo sends one toward goal and in. Daniel Angulo with an incredible shot as he beats Vizcaino over his outstretched arm, and the Dolphins lead it 2-0.
Wow. I mean, what a hit. That is something that is special. And, you know, there's a potential to say that maybe it wasn't on purpose. You could argue that that was supposed to be a cross, but, I mean, regardless of the intention, the hit was great. I mean, it was right in the corner. Started outside the post and then bent right into the stanchion. Nothing more you could ask. I mean, you don't see many goals from outside the corner of the 18-yard box. Just amazing.
That one's so nice. We had to see it twice. And I said it before, Aaron. I suspected Angulo was probably shooting on the free kick, and that's exactly why. He is very adept on those tough angled shots at putting quality chances on goal, and you cannot do any better than that. Vizcaino was in position, and he just cleared Vizcaino's outstretched glove. Now Hernandez toward the ball, and Vizcaino got there just in time.
Well, you have to give a lot of credit to Naranjo there. Just plucked the goal kick out of midair and then played the through ball on his next touch. It's really difficult to do.
Well, the newcomers for this Dolphins team have been very impressive. And, of course, a familiar face in Angulo making his mark on this game as well. That one sent toward the far sideline. And it gets away. Bodies all over the place as the Dolphins throw in. Still no substitutions in this game. Dolphins now lead at 2-0. And if you're CSI, really no reason to make a change right now. This game's gone about as well as you could have hoped to this point. Bloomfield looking to change that here as they move into the attacking third. Dimitru in the corner. Asensio Cueva is there. The Bears now look to work it into the penalty area, headed away. Fight for it near the top of the box. The Dolphins come away with it. Uzo up the far sideline, moving forward with some speed. Tried to get it to McGuire. And a good job to stay with that play and prevent the pass by Bloomfield. This is St. Bernard. St. Bernard trying to get past Garcia. And he does get it through. Zagil moving in. He may have a step, but Garcia closes the gap quickly. And a strong tackle knocks it away.
That's very, very good work by Garcia. Getting the tackle in from behind in the box, it's a risky thing to do because any wrong contact will lead to a penalty. So have to give credit to Garcia for being able to do that cleanly.
Garcia doing all he could to keep this a 2-goal game, and you know the Dolphins would love to take a multi-goal lead into halftime.
In fact, I would say there's a greater chance of the Dolphins adding to their lead than the Bears taking away from it.
If you take a look at the history between these two teams, either side has only scored more than 2 goals once, and that was back in 1983. So, looking at this matchup, you'd suspect it to be a low-scoring affair. The Dolphins in 83 scored 4 goals in a 4-1 victory. They scored twice in 2021. Neither team has exceeded a goal in any of the other matchups. Hernandez shouldered away from the ball by Maragwin. Kiralu intercepts that pass. He avoids a pair of markers. Garcia avoids a challenge. Good ball to set up Naranjo, and his shot is blocked.
I mean, the interplay here is scintillating. It's just quick, zippy passes, great touches. Everyone really seems to be on the same page.
And they look to play Hernandez through again. Ball now will find his foot. He's on sides. Hernandez avoids a marker, wanted Naranjo, but couldn't get it to him. Now, not sure if we missed it when one of the goals were scored, or perhaps if I only had 10 starters, because Miguel Espinoza was a late addition to the Dolphins roster. I don't have him circled as a starter. Did we have 10 starters, Aaron?
No, we have 11 here.
Okay, so the Dolphins made a substitution at some point. We just missed it. See if we could spot who it is that Espinoza replaced. I'm not sure. We'll have to work on that. We'll figure it out. You could always go to next door for some clarity as well and utilize the live stats. What we'll do is we'll sort the plays by substitution and get you that change. Brendan McGuire out, Espinoza in.
There you go.
Statistician Nick Bavona right on top of it. Naranjo finds Espinoza. He has a step, and he fires just wide.
Very nice first touch in order to give himself some space. Went back the way his pass came, and the defender was not expecting that. Couldn't cut off the angle in time. And it was the right idea to go for the far post, but he just pulled it slightly wide.
When those two attackers overlap in heavy traffic, that gets really tricky for the backers. And the Dolphins took advantage there. An opportunity for Espinoza to put CSI up 3. Bloomfield still looking for their first shot. The Dolphins lead in that department 8-0. 6 of the 8 Dolphin shots have been on goal. Angulo for Asensio Cueva. And a bit too strong on the touch as he sends it over and out of play.
Still nice to find that space out wide. All the ideas are correct. It was just the touch that was off.
13 minutes to play here in the first half. The Dolphins lead 2-0. That ball sent long out across the midfield stripe. It was headed by Asensio Cueva. Shehu avoids a challenge. Got rid of it. Now Kiralu from Angulo. Up ahead toward Uzo. He has it. And the Dolphins will regroup here. Angulo. Up to Garcia. Garcia toward the center of the pitch. Finds Kiralu. Kiralu moving toward the attacking third. And there's a good redirect for Uzo by Angulo. He wanted Kiralu, but it was broken up. And the Bears will earn a throw here. DeGiel takes it quickly, and he tried to steal a few extra feet. And the Bears will have to throw again. Dolphins all over that throw. Nowhere for Bloomfield to go.
This is one of Bloomfield's most concrete opportunities to get forward.
That one off the body of Uzo, but the Dolphins commit the foul. And a break off of a free kick or some other set piece is what the Bears need. They've had trouble generating scoring chances in this game, and this might be the catalyst for getting them an opportunity. They're still looking for their first shot.
And in college soccer, set pieces really are more influential than most other leagues or forms of competition just because of how scrappy most games are. So this really is a dangerous opportunity.
And this game is a prime example of that scrappiness. As that's sent toward goal, and Shehu got a body on it, and fortunately so for the Dolphins, as Hernandez is able to clear, and that will give CSI a breather, but that was a very good free kick that put that ball in a great spot.
One little detail to notice is that the linesman did signal for something on that delivery. Not sure if it was a foul or an offside that the center ref let go, but whatever it was not acknowledged by the center ref.
Good ball for Zagiel. He's moving ahead 2-on-1 into the box, and he beats Thompson off the post. Thompson with a diving attempt on that last save, or at least an attempted save, and it was just off of that far post.
Would have been a devastating moment for the Dolphins against the run of play. And defenders really should have done better there. It was 1-on-2. But he was just able to create some space and find the shot. Thankfully, it just kissed off the outside of the post, but that really could have been damaging to the Dolphins' lead.
There's a good ball to set up Uzo with a run up the far side. Espinoza nearly got there, and Vizcaino able to body it away. Now, the question on that last shot by the Bears is, if that shot is on target, does Thompson get a piece? He very well may get a glove on it.
That's what Dolphins fans would like to think, and thankfully we won't have to know the answer to that question.
I'd like to know.
It was a slow trickling shot, and the way Thompson performs, especially at home, one would expect him to have covered.
Substitution for the Dolphins. Steven Bronco checks in for the first time. 2 Dolphins came off, so trying to spot who else came on. We will consult the live stats.
Looks like
it's so easy to forget we have them.
Looks like it was number 19, William Lopez.
Correct. Lopez and Bronco in. Uzo and Naranjo out. As that's sent toward goal. Not a bad attempt, but high and wide. And as the Bears find themselves behind by a pair later in this game, and we're not at that point yet, but should we get there, we may begin to see more shot attempts like that.
Bloomfield probably starting to build a bit of frustration, not having been able to penetrate the Dolphins' defense, which is a positive sign.
We're closing in on 40 minutes gone by in this first half. The last 20 have been better for Bloomfield than the first 20. But that could change here as Garcia has room. Working against Tuma, has Angulo, and that shot deflected away. Looked like it was headed wide anyway. Espinoza looking to move toward the center of the pitch. Fends off a challenge. Lopez to Angulo, and he wanted Espinoza on the through ball. Leandro Angulo fires toward goal, and that is saved by Vizcaino.
Not the worst thing in the world to pop a shot from long distance every now and then, especially when you have control over a 2-0 lead.
Dolphins have had the pressure firmly upon the Bears' defense and their goalkeeper, Jomar Vizcaino, since the opening kickoff. It's always interesting to see what sort of adjustments the teams make at halftime. As I said before, the Bears would love to steal a goal before the half. They nearly did so just a couple of minutes back.
Never fully out of it. 2-0, most dangerous lead in soccer.
Not the first time I've heard that, Aaron. As that's sent out of play, throw in for Bloomfield.
It's all about momentum. If you're holding a 2-0 lead and you concede a first, gives the other team every reason to believe they can go grab a second.
Shehu up ahead for Bronco. Bronco looking for Espinoza. Espinoza toward the corner, now working toward the center of the pitch. Tries to beat his marker. Cross toward the far post. A bit too high. It's tracked down, centered. Bronco shot disrupted. The Bears looking to clear. They cannot. This is Lopez. Back to Angulo. Espinoza gets tangled up with a defender. And an inadvertent handball, so we thought, not whistled. And it looked like the Bears tried to clear that straight into a handball off their own backer. That's what it looked like.
That was a tough moment, and handballs often are really difficult. You never see one quite like that where it's a clearance causing the impact, but a lot of times in moments like those, you'll see the ref not call just because of the proximity to where the ball was hit, and I think that was appropriate. He was just so close to the origin of that clearance that he could not have possibly gotten out of the way.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, for sure. But you couldn't help but hear the groans coming from the CSI supporters in the crowd, and we're about 5 or 10 feet above them. So a lot of what is said in the stands does come through over our microphones. We're now inside of 5 minutes to play in the first half. And that's sent over the far sideline by Yusuf. Dolphins throw in quickly, and they promptly give it away. Bears looking to move up the far side. Redirection taken away by Kirilu in the midfield. Kirilu up ahead to Hernandez, and he is offsides. Substitution set to come in for Bloomfield.
One big problem right now for Bloomfield is the defensive work rate of their attackers. Not working to get back in transition gives plenty of time for the Dolphins midfielders to wait for the runs in behind with their forwards.
That ball sent about 2/3 the length of the pitch, and the Bears do come down with it. Maragwin could not beat his marker, but the Bears do keep possession, and Lopez is whistled for a foul. So
Caught him with the studs there. That's the right call.
Munoz drew the contact. Free kick for Bloomfield. The last one was a good one. Clock was stopped.
Looks like there was a little bit of contact there while setting up, and a yellow card given to, I believe that is Leandro Angulo.
Already 3 yellow cards in this match. Angulo, and Munoz. That one sent toward the far post, headed by Leandro Angulo. Hernandez first to get a foot on it. Dolphins looking to move ahead with some speed on the counter. Here comes Bronco. Bronco moving toward the corner. Bears closing in. He faces 2 markers now.
That's really nice work by the Bears defense to work back, prevent the counterattack, and then come away with a free kick. Really all you could ask for your players in transition.
That was some shriek from that far side when that contact occurred. I was just taken aback. I was concerned for a moment. It wasn't loud enough to come through on the headsets, but we could certainly hear it from up here. Talk about selling the call.
Yeah, it's just one example of theatrics that you'll see from dives. A very interesting aspect of the modern game of soccer.
Interesting is definitely a good way to describe it.
It's one of those things where you hate it when you see the other team do it, but you love it when your own team does it. Referee's having some issues here with the drop ball.
Well, Zaguil did not want to afford the Dolphins space as Lopez commits another foul. Less than 2 minutes to go in this first half. Dolphins lead at 2-0. That's sent toward the back line of CSI, headed right back into the midfield. And the flag goes up. No doubt about that one.
That's a few now building up for Hernandez, as well as a few that were close.
And Hernandez just picked up a yellow card for that.
That's a textbook yellow card, kicking the ball away. That'll get you
He
booked.
kicked it right into the goal, and there was no doubt that yellow card was coming.
Mm-hmm.
The way this game has gone, do you really want to give that yellow card?
You know you don't necessarily want to, but as clear of an example as that is.
I'm not talking about the official. Do you really want to accept that booking? Because there was no argument.
Yeah, there's no reason to do that. That's correct. And, 1 or 2 yellow cards in a game, you can handle, but you don't want to get too many because an accumulation will get you a suspension.
We saw that come into play late last season for some Dolphins, but I think the big reason not to concede the yellow card there is this game has been very physical, and I think as a result, the officials may call it a bit more tightly, and if you find yourself involved in a 50-50 play and the official decides to issue the booking, your day could be over. And you hate to see that, especially if you're Hernandez the way he's played so far.
Yeah, and the last thing you need when trying to defend a 2-0 lead is to go a man down. Now all of a sudden you go from what we've seen, which is pushing and pushing and trying to get a third, to sitting back and making sure you don't concede.
30 seconds to go here in the first half from Dolphins Soccer Park. Alex Morris into the game for the Dolphins. As we have a collision in the midfield, the clock is still running. And it is stopped at 9.2. Now the question is, will they allow the fallen Bear to stay in the game? That was Dimitri who went down.
Trainer came out to look at him, but he got up pretty quick. I would imagine it's because he knows the rules.
Well, he's out.
Yep. Despite the fact he couldn't avoid the trainer coming over and taking him away.
The official expedited his exit from the field. When play resumes, 10 seconds.
6,
And Thompson has his first touch of this first half right as time expires. So the Dolphins will take a 2-0 lead into the halftime break. This is CSI Sportsnet coverage of the 2023 men's soccer home opener only on the ECC network.
I feel like as a player, I've grown so much with this group and with my coaches, and my game has just elevated a lot more than it would have anywhere else, to be honest. So I'm just so grateful to be able to play with this team. And just being able to play in Division I soccer, week in, week out, it's just getting the best of both worlds, having the opportunity to get a degree. You really have to appreciate what you have. And there's so many kids around the world that don't get these opportunities, so you have to take advantage of it for sure.
If I lose, I'll respond with respect.
If I win, I'll back it up with humility.
If I fail, I'll rise up with honor. It's tough for us to put it all on the line.
Don't undo my hard work with poor sportsmanship.
Respect. It's the name of the game.
My dad was a soccer coach and bought this little book bag. I could sit in the book bag like facing backwards and look like my legs out. So I'd be in his book bag when my dad coaches and the ball's going around. I'm like kicking at the ball in the back. And my dad's like, we have a prodigy. So he put me into soccer and it just progressed from there. The catalyst was the opportunity to play soccer at a Division II school. I loved the team. They brought me in like I was one of their own. The professors help out so much. They actually care about developing me, not only so I just memorize the material and able to take a test, but am I able to apply the information. I don't feel nervous asking them, hey, I'm not going to be in class, can you send me something? And they're completely fine with it and they understand, which is the best part. On my team, I thrive to work as hard as I can. I mean, whatever you do on the field, there's a positive correlation to whatever else you do. Be it personal relationships, homework, the way you carry yourself. I'm able to go out and become president of the Student Athletic Advisory Committee. SAC is consistent of like a ton of different backgrounds, and we'll come up with cool ideas for like fundraisings and having the opportunity to raise money for Make-A-Wish and knowing it's going towards a good cause. Not only motivates me, but it motivates the whole community. I've changed since I got to King University. It's really helped me to develop as a leader. I think it's honestly the best thing that's ever happened.
Dear soccer, thank you. Thank you for allowing me to be in this position today.
Thank you for being something that is more than just my sport.
Soccer really is the beautiful game, and it will take you more places and give you more experiences than you could have ever dreamed of.
The people that I owe the most to are my teammates. They have been my crutch to lean on, shoulder to cry on, my hype woman in times of doubt, and my best friends day in and day out.
You get to wake up every day and play the sport you love at one of the highest levels at a prestigious university surrounded by your best friends. There is simply no better feeling.
You have given me my best friends, my most trusted mentors, and the most essential experiences of my young life. You are my community. With you, there is no race, no gender, no rich, and no poor. There is just a ball, 2 goals, and a common language.
Thank you for teaching me how to be a strong and courageous woman on and off the field.
Thank you for giving me hope for the future.
On the soccer field, I found a home. That is where I have always belonged.
I've learned a lot of things. I think one of the biggest things is how to cope with people, because I think that at the University of Virginia, and just as you keep moving on in life, you're going to keep meeting many more people. And I think all of the connections that I've made just at the University of Virginia they've become a big part of me. I think even the guys on the team, I consider some of them my family. I mean, I wake up in the morning at 6 in the morning, I'm spending time with them all the way up till 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night. And I think that's one of the bigger things that I've learned is the relationships that I build with people, whether it be on the soccer field and off the soccer field, because even classmates at University of Virginia are some people I consider some of my best friends. And I definitely think connections with people and the bonds that you build with people that I know are going to carry on with me through my entire life, it's definitely some of the bigger lessons I've learned.
Champions know how to seize opportunities. When they see moments of greatness unfold right before their eyes, they push as hard as they possibly can, and then they push harder. Because the heart of a champion never settles, never quits, and never stops giving its all. We are champions. We are Division II. We go big, we give it everything we've got, and we win. On the field, on our campuses, in our communities, for our causes, in our careers. We rise to become champions in everything we do. We are Division II, and there are no limits here. We make our time count. We set our own path. We become champions on our terms. It's time to up your game, because we're here to play and learn. But most importantly, we're here to discover ourselves, our vision, our heart, our drive, to achieve every goal we aim for, because we want to be champions at the highest level, life. At Division II, the opportunities are here. Are you ready?
I can't describe how much I learned as a player, but also as a human being, because you have to overcome challenges that you don't face in other areas. As part of the NCAA and obviously the college system itself, being a student athlete, there's so many challenges that not everybody else can relate to, and you have to try to excel in both areas. And now eventually you'll become a leader. Like in my case, I kind of had to step up into that role, and I feel like I've embraced that challenge. And now I love the spot where I am right now. I love how I've matured, become a leader, become the captain of the team, and hopefully I can help the rest of the guys win the Natty.
I was the kid who would do surgery on my teddy bear and have my sister be my patient, and I would wear the stethoscope and the lab coat. I was that kid. Wayne State Medical School has been my dream medical school since I was 5. Dr. News, who is the head of the biology department, definitely has had a huge impact over the past 2 years I've been in the lab. He took a chance on me and actually gives me the power to actually do things. Athletics are important, but so is service, so is research, so is becoming a better person. And we expect you to do well athletically, but don't forget the reason you're here, which is to give back to your community and to get good grades. I've had so many experiences with underprivileged people, and just seeing that they want the basic things that people get out of life. And if I can help in any way, that just kind of warms my heart. That's why I want to be a doctor, to serve those who have been dealt a bad hand. It was my sophomore indoor season. It was the first year with our new head coach. And he comes in and he's like, we could be a national contending team if you guys work hard. And I heard him, and I was like, well, I want to be a national champion. I want to be an All-American. And I bought in because he bought into our team. And I qualified to go to indoor nationals. It was just because I bought into myself, because someone bought into me. I decided I wanted it, so I went and grabbed it.
Dear soccer, there are no words to describe my love, admiration, and appreciation for you. From the moment I was brought onto this earth, you were all I knew. You have been with me and have seen me from a young little boy in Brazil to a well-rounded man in America. From all the days and nights kicking the ball at walls, breaking everything at home and making my mom upset, sleeping with a ball under my arms, making fun of my dad for beating him by 1 goal, never imagined that he will let me in just to see me smile. You were there for me. You were there with me. When we are together, nothing else matters. It's me and you. It's like the whole world disappears. Everything goes away, and we just enjoy it. I have always given you my all, my very best. Soccer, you have brought me to a place outside of my comfort zone, gave me an opportunity to live out my dream, and introduced me to my mentors, my role models, and most importantly, my family. You have been my teacher, my biggest fan, my biggest critic, and my best friend. With you, I was able to accomplish milestones that I'll always be proud, experience moments that I'll never forget, make memories that I'll forever remember, and live the life that I always dream about. So thank you. Thank you for turning the little boy who used to break things into the house to the man that I am today. There are no words to describe my love, admiration, and appreciation for you. But there are words to describe the feelings that I have right now, playing in the Final Four, with the greatest team, the greatest coaching staff, with the greatest university, and with the greatest fans. Nothing will ever compare or measure up to this moment. We're not done. I hope to still have you with me for a long time and live many more great memories together. Thank you, soccer.
Welcome back, everybody, to the second half of College of Staten Island men's soccer's competition versus Bloomfield College, first game of the season. And the first half really could not have gone any better than it did. 2-0 heading into the second half. Two very nice goals. The second one, an absolutely amazing shot from none other than Angulo. Daniel Angulo, of course, been the main man for this team for quite a while now, but displays of talent and organization all over the pitch. Blinding pace from plenty of players. We saw Fortune Uzo running up and down at very, very blazing speeds. He got an assist on the first goal. Benjamin Hernandez was able to tap in the first goal. Both contributions by freshmen in their first ever game. When you have 14 freshmen, the way that the College of Staten Island do this year, there's the potential for a lot of things to go wrong, but there's also the potential for everything to come together in quite a beautiful way. It looks like Alex Kuba, in his second year as head coach, is really getting an opportunity to implement his system, and I think there's still going to take time for that to come into full effect. We saw some weaknesses towards the end of the half where Bloomfield were winning some free kicks, taking advantage of the lack of discipline perhaps on the field for the Dolphins. And especially in college soccer, as we discussed, those free kicks can become costly. The more you whip in those crosses into uncertain areas, the more potential there is for Bloomfield to steal a goal. So as long as CSI can prevent themselves from giving away too many free kicks, they really had all of the control over the run of play. Could not even tell that Nick Koshenko is missing in this team. They seem to have built an entirely new identity without him. If you were to look at the film from this first half and compare it to film from the previous year, you wouldn't even be able to tell that these two are the same teams. I mean, the amount of crisp passing and very clean technical play is something really that we have not seen from this team in the past, and it's very refreshing. I'm sure that the home fans are very pleased with what they've seen so far. With all that being said, still only halfway through the game. I'm sure Bloomfield had the opportunity to make plenty of adjustments and changes in order to counter the game that Staten Island has presented to them. But regardless of what they do, dealing with that pace of the Dolphins attackers is going to consistently be an issue. There's nothing you can do to counter pace like that. Also of note in this first half was Raul Naranjo, who is a transfer. He's a junior coming in that we talked about before the beginning of the game. He has been pretty central in the attack for the Dolphins, and he looked very comfortable in that role. You could never tell that it was his first game for the club. Pulling a lot of the strengths. He's very technically gifted. And that's really the mark of this Dolphins team is being gifted technically. And that, especially on a turf surface, is allowing the Dolphins to control possession just because they're so good at finding the correct passes. Dolphins break their huddle and looks like they will kick off momentarily for the beginning of the second half. Espinoza looks like he is getting the start for the second half. He did not start the first. And now we kick off. Dolphins go long to start off the half, looking to win the header, but they do win a throw-in.
Thank you, Aaron, as I had to make sure we had second half lineup set. As that is crossed in front, off the hand of Vizcaino, it pinballs around, and Bronco has it. Dolphins with another early chance. Coming out of halftime, you have to love that if you're CSI. As Bronco moves toward the touchline, sends one in front, and the sliding shot is converted by Morris, and the Dolphins lead at 3-0.
What a way to start off the second half. Great ball whizzed across, and, when the ball is coming across at that pace, all you need to do is get the slightest touch to put it in, and that's what they were able to do. Really, really impressive. The energy from the start is exactly what you need in order to set the tone, and now not only are Bloomfield having to restart, but now they have to overcome an even stronger deficit.
Alex Morris making an immediate impact as Steven Bronco got that play started and set up Morris with the cross. Dolphins have been nothing but impressive here in this game, and just seconds after coming out for the start of half number 2, CSI leads by 3 goals. Kiralu tied up with Munoz. Munoz takes it away. Plays it up ahead. Dimitru. Back to Tuma. Long ball up ahead. And Thompson is there.
Bloomfield just can't find any ideas in the midfield. Dolphins have complete control of the center of the park.
Aaron, you have to take over. I've been summoned.
Dolphins looking to play out here. Big crossfield ball. Floats up in the air a little bit. Gives Bloomfield defender Marlon Morales time to get underneath. And a turnover here in the back leads to a potential chance for Bloomfield. looking for the shot. Can't find it. Eventually do get something off, but it's over the top. So the Dolphins, the architect of their own demise right there in that instance. Looks like Daniel Angulo was raising his hands, taking responsibility for the turnover. Thankfully, he did not pay for that in the way of a goal conceded. Well, awaiting goal kick here from Thompson. Play it short. Pass is into Bronco with a nice flick, and all of a sudden the Dolphins are on the attack. Espinoza looking to size up his defender. Find some space. Great dribbling from Espinoza. What a goal! What a finish from Espinoza, and the incredible dribbling and deftness of his touch in the build-up was incredible.
Well, Aaron, the newcomers to this Dolphins team are making quite the impression here today, as Espinoza, with tremendous dribbling, as you said, and he converts in heavy traffic. He had no less than 4 black jerseys around him, was able to navigate through it, and still get a quality shot off in heavy traffic. And for the first time since 1983, the Dolphins have scored 4 goals against Bloomfield. And CSI will look to remain perfect at home against the Bears as well. They appear well on their way to accomplishing that.
Not even 3 minutes into the game, into the half, and they've already scored 2 here. I mean, just more and more encouraging for the season as the game goes on.
Bears will look to work it up the far side. But you said it, Aaron. The Dolphins have had complete control of the midfield. And we've seen that pay off both on the attack and defensively as they've limited the Bears to nothing in terms of scoring chances. When these two teams met last season, the game was completely different. The Dolphins took the 1-0 victory. But CSI in this game has been dominant, and that was not the case last year as the clock is stopped and 2 players are down.
I'm not sure exactly what happened to Espinoza, but it looked to me that he kind of left a stud in on their number 6, Valdi Jean-Pierre. So I can understand why he's in some pain, because I think he took a stud to the midsection.
Looks like both players will stay in the game.
I think there was a look there from Jean-Pierre towards Espinoza. Not incredibly happy with what transpired, and I can't blame him.
Well, Jean-Pierre is being ushered off the pitch. He wanted no part of any assistance, wanted to stay in the game. Looks like he just took a look over his shoulder to see if the Bears would send in a substitution. Free kick belongs to Bloomfield. They'll work up the far side. Munoz. That's redirected by Mencia. Bronco was there for the Dolphins. Very quickly, Jean-Pierre allowed back into the game as the Dolphins will earn a goal kick here. Good pressure in the corner by Shehu.
Jean-Pierre is still holding, it looks like his arm. He must have gotten caught in the arm. The upper part of his arm on the bicep.
We await a Dolphins goal kick. Amari Thompson played short. He has not been very busy in this game. Bears now with 3 shots, none of those on goal. Dolphins with 13 shots, 10 on goal, 4 corners. The two teams have combined for 18 fouls. Bears will look to reset in the back.
Bears have a real mountain to climb here. I don't know what they might do in order to try and get back into this game, but they got to make some big changes.
If you're the Bears playing your first game, at the very least, you would like to take something positive out of it, whether that be a goal or a clean final 40 minutes. When a team plays in regular season competition for the first time in nearly a year, sometimes there's a lot of rust to be shaken off as the clock is stopped again.
This is especially promising for the Dolphins because of their non-conference schedule that they have going forward. They play at Assumption, at Goldie Beacom, at home versus Bloomsburg, hosting American International, and then also hosting University of Bridgeport. And 3 of those 5 teams had winning records last year. So it's a very strong non-conference schedule.
Dolphins got a look at most of those teams last year, if not all of them. Game against Bloomsburg resulted in a 6-2 loss. Dolphins did not see Goldie Beacom last season, so that will be a new non-conference opponent for CSI.
That should be relatively comfortable. Goldie Beacom, where they didn't win a single game last year. They were 0-16-2.
I think the game against Bloomsburg will be a big one for fans of this Dolphins team and this coaching staff to use as a gauge in determining how far has this team come. If you look at this game, it certainly appears that they've improved a great deal from where they were at this point last year. Dolphins did score twice in their opener, but they allowed 6. That was against Bloomsburg on August 27th of last year. They then won the game against Bloomfield 1-0 here at home. Chance here for the Bears. And we're going to have a penalty kick. What do you think, Aaron?
I think that was the right call. A bit of a reckless tackle. It was late. Didn't get any contact on the ball, just the man. Relatively rash decision, though. I don't think you had to dive in there. You know, with the way that the game has been going, I think it's preferable to just let the shot be taken there and see if your trusted goalkeeper, Mari Thompson, can handle it. But instead, they're going to get a very clear-cut opportunity on goal.
Given the reaction of the defender on that play, I think he knew he committed a foul, because whenever you see the hands go up and that look of, I didn't do anything, typically you did something. That's my takeaway from that replay, but it's just impossible to tell via the look on replay whether or not a foul did actually occur. It's just so difficult on the wide shot.
The biggest tip any coach will give a player defending is don't leave your feet in the box, because when you do, you leave yourself susceptible to a penalty call if you get it even the slightest bit wrong. And we just saw the perfect example of that.
Well, Aaron, we might have to hand operate a camera for this penalty kick, because right now the wide shot may not give us a view of the goal. Now, the clock was stopped at 37:37, so as they get things sorted out down in the field, the clock has stopped. Now, I'm not sure I've ever called action in this manner before. Now, our audio is delayed, so what we'll do is we'll keep it with the wide shot for now. And as they get set to take the shot, we're going to switch the camera. Penalty kick up coming, and it is wide! Thompson dove to his right, guessed wrong, but that was sent well wide by Zagil, and the Dolphins maintain the clean sheet. Thompson will certainly take it.
Well, if you're Bloomberg, that was your opportunity to take something positive for the game, and you just threw it directly in the garbage.
Well, if you're Bloomsburg, you play the Dolphins later in the week. Bloomfield.
Bloomfield.
You know, I'm shocked that's the first time we did it today. All that talk of Bloomfield, Bloomsburg, it was bound to happen eventually. Now, you'll see as the season goes on, Aaron, we typically have a tally. School by school in the ECC, it seems, some of our conference rivals have changed from college to university. So we had Deauville go from college to university. We had Damon go from college to university. We had Malloy go from college to university. And this year, Mercy will go from college to university. So
wow.
The point is, we have a tally. Every time we say it incorrectly, we mark it down, and we see at the end of the broadcast who's made the most errors. Usually I'm at a 0, just saying. Usually.
Well, I'm hoping that because this is my first season that I can hopefully get it right. But I've already mixed up the blooms, so who knows?
You don't have that conditioning. We're inside of 36 minutes to play here in the second half from Dolphin Soccer Park. The University of Staten Island just doesn't have the same flow to it as College of Staten Island. USI just wouldn't work.
CSI is a great acronym, although it is already used for one other thing. But
you know how many times when I was a student here, I was asked if I was going to school for forensics? I was asked where you go to school. I'd say CSI, not realizing that the person asking wasn't from Staten Island, wasn't from the New York tri-state, thought I was going to school to be a forensic analyst.
Yeah, it's definitely a problem. Whenever I'm talking to people who I'm not sure if they're familiar with the school, I always make sure to say the whole name because I know that they're going to think of the television show.
I'm not sure I've ever said the full name outside of a Sportsnet broadcast. If you know, you know.
That's right.
That one's sent away by Vizcaino. Bears now have it in the midfield. So, Aaron, you sent our visitors next door?
Yes, I did.
Good. Shehu near side. And another collision. We've seen that so many times today. Players coming together.
And you know what? The ref's doing a good job of ignoring the ones that he views as blatant dives. And that can be hard to do as a referee because a lot of times players will dive with legitimate contact, and then that can serve as a kind of reward for the dive and leading to more. So I commend the referee for maintaining his control in the game so far.
Well, I think it's fair to say the officials have really had their hands full in this one. A lot of physical play. We've seen the fouls. We've seen the yellow cards, and we're about to see another one, and this time it's a red. So I do believe that was the second yellow card of the game for Marvin Munoz.
It was, but that was not a second yellow, to be clear. That was a straight red. He did not pull out a yellow card. He went straight to the red
I was
one.
certain he had a yellow card earlier.
He did have a yellow card earlier.
So he got a straight red for what he just did?
Yes.
Okay.
Usually, if it is a second yellow, he'll show the yellow and then the red.
Got it.
But because he didn't do that, he must have said something. Because I didn't see any sort of physical contact, so he must have used some words that he really should not have used.
See if we can catch anything on the replay. I'm not sure if we have what occurred before. We do not.
One of the big pieces of emphasis when it comes to language and the NCAA rules and regulations is using profanity towards the referee. That is something that can get you punished very quickly. And so because the referee was so quick to pull out the red card, it leads me to believe that Marvin Munoz said something directly to the referee.
Kirilu looked like he wanted Espinoza, who stopped his run. Bears now have it. They'll play a man down the rest of the way. Sencio Cueva redirects for Shehu. Now Bronco sends it a mile high. That was headed by Tuma. Angulo goes down. Play on, says the official. Bronco. moving toward the center of the pitch, fires a shot, and it's high and wide.
And all of that comes from just a bad decision from the center back, Tuma. He has the ball bouncing up in the air, and he wins the header, but instead of giving it back to his keeper to pick up, he heads it in the direction of the attackers.
Dimitru met in the midfield. Morris threw him down. Play continues, and Dimitru remains down. Dolphins may have something brewing here. That's sent in front, and Naranjo sends it high. That was a good setup by Garcia.
It's more good connecting play in the attack. It's been the brand throughout the game, is bring the ball down the right side and try and cut it back to a man in the middle, and they're doing a really good job of finding those spaces in the box.
Well, the outside backers for the Dolphins have been involved, especially in facilitating that ball movement in the attacking third of the field. Asensio Cueva already has an assist. Garcia had a chance for one right there. Angulo nearly intercepted that ball. That's sent over the near side. Dolphins will throw. Just under 31 minutes to play here in the second half. The Dolphins in firm control. Angulo for Angulo. And they send it back and forth to one another.
Interesting to learn during halftime that the Angulos are not related, despite their similar
I didn't
names.
learn that. I didn't learn that.
No, just me.
Okay. I was about to say, I need to be very clear. I did not just learn that.
I would hope for you to know, but for me as a new broadcaster, that was some information I was not privy to.
Next door, our statistician didn't know.
Now that is surprising.
He said after we spoke about the yellow cards in that first half, he said, Angulo's brother got one too. I said, excuse me? Come again?
I can't blame him because Angulo is not a terribly common name, so you would expect two people with that last name on the same team is because they're related, but no.
Now, there is a hack, and we don't always get complete information when it comes to hometowns, high schools, and such on the rosters, but a hack to know if two players are related, look at the hometown. They'll share a hometown if they're related just about every time.
Mm-hmm.
Do have two sisters, Castro sisters, on the women's soccer team. They are related.
Okay.
The Angulos are not. Michael Garcia will head to the Dolphins bench. He'll get a well-deserved breather. He's played well in his CSI debut. Angulo fighting for it in the midfield. And the clock is stopped again.
Looks like the referee's going to issue another yellow card here. This time to Bloomfield's number 17, Jeffrey Rodriguez.
I'll tell you, Aaron, the way the official looked down at Angulo, I thought he got him for embellishment initially. He looked right at him and pulled out the yellow card.
And you know what? If he had, I don't know if I could blame him because, it was a little bit of a
Angulo's leaving, Aaron. Angulo is leaving the pitch. Now, that might just be because a substitution was set to come in for him.
Yeah, thankfully he was not sent off. And he's put in quite the shift. He's worked really hard. He gets all over. He drops down back behind the center backs to help open up the possession. He gets forward to win the ball up high. Lots of roles he's playing in this team.
28 and a half minutes to go here in the second half. Dolphins again moving forward on the attack. Bronco sends one in front, and it was knocked away by Tuma. Asensio Cueva throws in. Naranjo. Trying to get out of tight window there in the corner. And he draws the foul.
That's good work there. He didn't have many options, and so he went for the clever route of putting his body between the ball and the defender and waiting for the defender to make too much contact. And he got exactly what he was looking for.
Well, if you're the Bears, that's probably the only way out Naranjo had there was a foul. I don't think he was going to be able to body his way out of that one, but nicely done to draw the whistle. Dolphins earn a free kick. Good move by Espinoza. And he sends one right on target onto the foot of Shehu, who got a shot off. But not a lot on it.
Shehu's going to be ruining that opportunity later. Not because it'll impact the outcome of the game, but because it was an opportunity for him to get on the score sheet in his first game for the team.
And how about the dribbling of Espinoza? We saw it result in a goal as that shot was blocked. We'll cut back to that replay in a moment. Didn't want to miss any of the live action. And there's a great pass on the heel kick by Bronco, but the shot is high, and the shot taker, Asensio Cueva, is ruled offsides.
I believe the offside was actually on Naranjo, who didn't actually touch the ball, but he was close enough in order to influence the play.
That makes more sense because I did not think Asensio Cueva was offsides as that shot is sent way high. Now we'll get a look at that last Dolphin scoring chance. And that was a great ball by Espinoza as well. I mentioned his dribbling, but that was as good a cross as you can ask for, right onto the foot of his fellow attacker. And unfortunately for the Dolphins, they could not convert on that chance. Haven't said that many times today.
And, yeah, well, the defender's touch sometimes can be to their own detriment in the box. They're not built for those first-time finishes the same way that the attackers are. But nevertheless, overall, we mentioned earlier the pace of this new-look Dolphins team, but just as impressive is the overall technical ability. I mean, the deftness of touches and the crispness of passes, everything about it is really looking very nice from not only an aesthetic perspective, but a practical perspective as well.
Dolphins with a 4-goal lead and 25 minutes to play in this match. I do believe the Dolphins had a 4-goal effort last season. I don't believe they scored 5 in a game. They did score 4 at home against Deauville. That was a season high last year. They've matched that. Naranjo moving ahead. 2 black jerseys closing in. Naranjo gets a step, and that shot was headed wide, but Vizcaino pulls it in.
Some words exchanged there between Naranjo and the center back Malik Yusuf, which just more ongoing debate between these two teams as the game carries on.
Zagil working against Shehu. Back to St. Bernard. Now Zagil looking to work around Asensio Cueva, and the Dolphins concede the corner. They tried to keep it in, gave it everything they had, even leading by 4 goals. You have to love that effort.
There was a bit of a tangle there between Cueva and Matisse Ziegel with the potential for a free kick call, but the ref let that one go.
And that is sent high.
Just, I mean, nothing more to say about that other than the delivery was very poor. Got to give your teammates a chance to make a play in the ball, and he didn't give anybody a chance to do anything. So you can see the Bears have not yet registered a shot on goal. When you have deliveries such as the one we saw off that corner, you can easily figure out why.
Dolphins will throw in just beyond the midfield stripe. And we have another whistle, another player down. No booking.
That one really seemed to be kind of an off-ball push on Haitem Tuma. And interesting that the referee did not take out a card.
Angulo will take the free kick. This, of course, Leandro Angulo. Plays it short and gets it right back. Dolphins looking to work a give and go there along the far side. Roberto Joffrey in the game now for CSI. That one redirected toward the center of the pitch. And Joffrey got tangled up with Zagil.
I believe that was the right call. It was great work rate from Zagil to keep at the loose ball, keep the defenders guessing, but he just got a little bit too handsy there.
Despite the 4-goal lead for CSI, this game has not gotten any less physical. In fact, it's gotten more physical as we've gone on, and sometimes that's a product of fatigue.
I think in this circumstance, it's a product of frustration. Bloomfield just not able to do anything, and the players are tired of that.
Aiden Civio in for the Dolphins. There's a good ball from Asensio Cueva. Bronco got a foot on it, but couldn't hold on as it deflected off of his foot and into the arms of Vizcaino. That pass intercepted by Morris, nearly carried the ball straight into a dangerous attacking position.
There's some nice dribbling there. Bloomfield have some technical ability of their own, but just haven't really been able to show it at all.
The whistles seemingly nonstop here in the second half. Dolphins will make another substitution as Brendan McGuire makes his way onto the pitch. Luis Asensio Cueva off.
In the center of the park, we also have Aiden Civio. Big, tall midfielder. I think CSI's tallest player on the field now.
He's the tallest player on the roster at 6'4". He's the only player on the roster who has me outsized.
Wouldn't want to be up against him for a header.
No. And we saw, you mentioned Nicholas Kashenko last year. He was also 6'4", and the Dolphins on set pieces would target him for those header chances. And one of them was converted, made its way into our Sportsnet intro, which of course will be updated throughout the season with footage from our athletic communications content creator and Staten Island's most requested sports photographer. The words of SI Live, not my words, Marquise Pickering, though I can't disagree with them. But
great asset.
Marquise was featured in a piece over at SI Live. You can check that out over at SILive.com or in the news archives at CSIDolphins.com, where we have a link straight to the piece over at SI Live. And it appears that we've lost our camera feed. Well, that's not good. So what we're going to do is bring our image overlay onto the screen. Aaron and I will continue with audio. Now, whoever scheduled the video recording for this men's soccer match ended it a bit early. They ended it at 3:30, Aaron.
That's not what you want to hear.
That is not what you want to hear. So we're going to get back live. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but we'll get that back, and we'll have video for you again momentarily.
Half chance there for the Dolphins as Naranjo went for a cross with his left foot, but cross curled out of bounds. didn't give his teammates any opportunity to get on the end of it.
We have just inside of 18 minutes to play here in the second half. Don't think we'll be needing more than 30 minutes on the recording. We should be coming live again right about now. We're back.
Big clearance from Bloomfield, and then actually might find an attacker. What a ball. Unlucky not to get the throw in there, but possibly the best pass of the game right there.
My question is, who thought this game was ending at 3:30?
Don't know.
Didn't even realize it when I looked at the recording setup. So how it works with the Huddle Focus, you have to set a window of time for the camera to operate. And that window was set from 1:45 up until 3:30 p.m. Here come the Bears. And that's an easy chance for Thompson. First shot on goal for Bloomfield comes with 16:43 remaining in the second half.
And the worst thing about that is that it wasn't even supposed to be a shot. I mean, to be honest, Bloomfield didn't even create the chance on their own. They got a lucky bounce off the defender. And then Jean-Pierre was in space and tried to cross it into actually an open attacker. Just a bad ball.
Good idea on that ball, but looked like McGuire overran it by just a step. It took a weird bounce off the pitch as well. But a good idea by Naranja, who gets a point from McGuire on the opposite wing.
I think this game really might start to open up soon because it looks like Bloomfield, they're trying to just throw bodies forward now because they don't feel like they have anything to lose, and that'll give the Dolphins plenty of chances to counter.
Well, we said it before, in the two games between these two teams, each of the last couple of seasons, we've been treated to a pair of back-and-forth, very entertaining contests. Dolphins won 1-0 last year, won 2-1 with a golden goal in a second overtime back in 2021. Since then, NCAA at the Division II level has done away with the overtime rule.
That's right. They
I love overtime soccer on the call. Bit biased, obviously, but
overtime is exciting and it's great for viewers, but as a former player, I can see that there was good logic to taking it away. I mean, already you have players doing 2 games a week, practicing every other day, and it can provide too much wear and tear, especially for teams that are trying to make deep runs into the postseason.
As it was explained to me, that was the reasoning, and I get it. But selfishly, I miss overtime.
I get it.
And that season in 2021, we had 2 overtime game-winning golden goals for CSI in the first week and a half of the season. One of them was in that men's game against Bloomfield, or at least I think it was in the first couple of weeks of the season. I'd have to double-check that. First 3 weeks, that game was played on September 22nd. But women's soccer opened their season against Felician with a game-winning golden goal in overtime. That was scored with a few seconds remaining. Come the Dolphins. That was Ailey Dawson with it. And now Christopher Cardozo with his first shot. Sets up an easy save for Vizcaino.
I think the most disappointing part of the new overtime rules is that even when there is overtime, which is in playoff games, it is not golden goal. It's 2 10-minute periods that are played fully, regardless of whether a goal is scored or not.
The last time I took in Dolphins playoff soccer now was many, many years ago, as the team hasn't been eligible for the postseason for 3 of the last 4 years, 2019 through 2021. And then last year they were eligible in 2022. I'll elaborate after this attacking play concludes, but they were in the East Coast Conference Championship many years ago. If I'm not mistaken, their opponent was John Jay, but could be wrong there, as that deflected off the foot of Naranjo and into Vizcaino's arms. That game came down to a shootout, and the Dolphins unfortunately came up short in the shootout. And if memory serves me correctly, that's the last time this team got a taste of the postseason.
And that was back when they were in their previous conference. Is that not correct?
Yes, they were in the CUNYAC. I would like to say that was 2017. Might have been 2018.
So, not forever, but it's been a little bit.
It was either 17 or 18. I can check that right now. There was a time where I'd remember every game I ever called. Those days are long over.
Free kick here for the Dolphins.
It was Baruch that they played in the finals. They played John Jay in the semifinals.
I see.
They lost to Baruch 5-3 on penalty kicks in the final after ending regulation tied at 2. So that was in 2018.
Penalty kicks, very entertaining way to end a game, but a brutal way to lose your season.
I remember covering that game, providing game film for us, as that through ball a bit too strong for Dawson, intended for Hernandez, but I was covering that game, providing the team game film, and we had a iPod which we used to be able to view the game over the tent set up in front of us by CUNYAC. They were supplying a broadcast team and their own equipment, so our camera was positioned behind their tent, and we had to raise the iPod 20 feet in the air so that we could view the field. Thankfully, we had a monitor that showed us what was on the camera screen. Unfortunately, the crew that was covering the game for the CUNYAC was not so lucky. They did not have a monitor to be able to view the field, so their camera was set up right next to me, and they had to guess where the ball was.
Oh, my gosh.
So I do not envy that camera operator. Oh. Tough day for him.
Sometimes you got to operate on very suboptimal equipment in college sports.
.11 and 15 seconds to go. Here from Dolphin Soccer Park as we get our game clock recalibrated. We do have an engineering intern set to begin working with us next Tuesday. So fortunately, I won't have to worry about the scoreboard, the clock, or the replays as I call the action. It has been years since I covered a soccer game with an engineer covering that for us. As the Bears may have an opportunity here. We'll see if they look to cross or shoot, and it will be neither. As they could not keep that ball in play. Zagil gave chase, but couldn't keep it from rolling over the touchline as the Bears will make a pair of substitutions.
Disappointing there. The Bears actually had a chance to break with pretty favorable numbers, but they did not release the ball in time, and then when they did, it had a little bit too much on it, and it's just another in the long list of issues that the Bears have faced so far.
Just over 10 minutes to play as the Dolphins prepare for this upcoming goal kick. Here come the Dolphins. Aranjo into the attacking third, and Hernandez is offsides.
And I believe that's either the third or fourth offside that has been called on Hernandez. And given it is his first game, and so you have to be willing to give some leeway there, but it's something that might have to be watched throughout the season is Hernandez's positioning.
He has been very aggressive on those runs. We saw it pay off earlier in the game. Got on the board with a goal, had at least one other scoring chance on a well-timed run. There haven't been many negatives for the Dolphins in this game. I think if you're nitpicking, the only area you could look at and say perhaps you might be disappointed is they haven't scored in over 30 minutes now. They hadn't gone that long without a goal at any point in this game. But leading by 4, you can certainly afford to ease up. And I think if you told this team and coaching staff they would win by multiple goals, they'd take it, as Thompson is challenged in a big way for the first time today. He makes a nice save.
Yeah, and that was great work from Dimitru. I mean, he's operating in very tight spaces there, shifting around defenders, and to manage to find space to shoot is not easy. But thankfully, Thompson was ready for it, and that can be one of the most difficult parts of goalkeeping is maintaining your focus when you're not facing that much action.
Well, credit to the Bears. They're playing a man down as they were issued a red card earlier. Marvin Munoz was sent off the pitch. He picked up a yellow earlier and then was issued a red. Haley Dawson was taken down there on the challenge, and the Dolphins will earn a free kick. Sivio toward the far side. Joffrey up ahead to McGuire. Dolphins give it away and continue to apply pressure. Sivio with some room here. Finds Hernandez, who looks to turn, and his shot is high and wide.
Really good job there by the Dolphins' attack to create space. I mean, they were just cutting through the Bloomfield defense like it's nothing. Sivio has been very impressive in the center of the park. He seems to be the pendulum through which the possession swings. He could have taken the shot himself, but he was selfless and went for Hernandez, who made an attempt on the turn and just couldn't keep it down.
Well, the Dolphins in this game now have 21 shots. That might have been 22, but we officially have 21 right now. They attempted 22 shots twice last season. Once against Deauville and a second time against Damon. They won the game against the Saints 4-1, as I mentioned earlier. They lost against the Wildcats 2-1. And I recall that game against Damon late in the season. The Dolphins had their playoff hopes hanging in the balance. Were behind late, battled back, but it wasn't enough. Just over 6 minutes to play here in the 2023 men's soccer home opener. Bears trying to break up the shutout. Maury Thompson looking for another clean sheet.
Right idea there from Jeffrey Rodriguez to poke his teammate through, but he just got the weight of the pass all wrong.
Thompson last season posted 3 clean sheets, and all of those came here at home. He also allowed 1 goal in a game 4 separate times. So he had a lot of very impressive efforts in goal last year. Here comes Sivio. That ball a bit behind McGuire. He stays with it and sends one toward goal, but it's scooped up by Vizcaino.
Good work right there from McGuire.
Lopez hesitates, surveys. Now McGuire. Toward the center of the pitch. Hernandez wanted Dawson. It finds Sivio. And his shot is off target.
From my observations, it appears that Sivio is not a player with much attacking prowess. He's much more of a defensive asset. And he's been doing a great job as a defensive midfielder, but you can see there why he doesn't shoot very often.
Dolphins will send Steven Adebisi into the game. Adebisi scored a goal against this Bloomfield team last year, and that ultimately was the game winner. Adebisi finished the season with 2 goals in 2022. We'll get just over 4 minutes of playing time late in this game. Here come the Bears moving quickly the other way, and Thompson with another easy save. That was shot attempt there by Abdoulaye Kamara.
It was a good run to get down towards the end line, and you would have hoped that he could center the ball to a teammate, but there was no one there for him.
Scivio looked to play Adebisi through. It was broken up. Maragwin harassed into giving it up by 2 Dolphins. And that's sent over the far side. Free kick for the Bears, as a foul was whistled against the Dolphins. There's a long ball up the pitch, and too long. Jeffrey Rodriguez, the intended target on that pass. Angulo receives it from Thompson. Just over 2.5 minutes to play. Dawson. Over to Scivio. Now Shehu. Gets it right back and plays it to Thompson. Dolphins perfectly content, taking their time, methodically working their way up the pitch here in the closing minutes. Dawson was able to get that by St. Bernard. Now Lopez over to Scivio. Dolphins play it across the back line once again. Angulo. More than willing to let time bleed off the clock.
Seems like the game has reached its final stage. Bloomfield no longer interested in pressing. CSI no longer interested in attacking.
Angulo up to Lopez. Scivio avoids a challenge. Found Dawson. Adebisi keeps it. Adebisi for Cardozo. Cardozo moving in. Looking for Adebisi, and Adebisi a step ahead of that ball.
Again, the patterns are great. The ideas are exactly correct. Just a little bit off on the execution, but you keep doing those things, and eventually you'll get some shots.
Strong tackle there by Lopez. Sent Dimitru down to the pitch, and they will stop the clock. The official will help Dimitru to his feet. Looks like Tuma might be pleading his case for a foul. Looked like a clean tackle by Lopez. Dolphins really set the tone early in this game, got on the board quickly, and never looked back. The effort was consistent for the full 90 minutes. You love to see that as well, and we saw contributions from many of the familiar faces on this roster, as well as several newcomers. CSI very impressive in their opening match here in 2023, and you know this team has high hopes for a potential postseason berth, given that the field has expanded. They were the first team out last year, given the new format. They placed 7th in the conference. Of course, it's a non-conference matchup, but looking back to how they played against this Bloomfield team last year, you have to be feeling very good about yourselves. If you're the Dolphins, coming away with a 4-goal victory against a team that you defeated 1-0 last year. And that will do it, as the Dolphins defeat the Bears 4-0 in their 2023 season opener here at Dolphins Soccer Park. Clean sheet for Amari Thompson. Wasn't challenged much until the later portion of the second half, and his attackers gave him some great support in this game. We said it, Aaron. Contributions from the newcomers, contributions from the returners, an all-around great effort by CSI.
The biggest thing about this first game was just seeing what the team was going to be like. A lot of unanswered questions coming into the season, a lot of new players, and any question you would have wanted to ask about this CSI team has been answered pretty convincingly. Very, very positive start to the season. So much to look forward to. You have to love the way that the team was playing. It wasn't just the result alone. It was the style of play. Extremely convincing. From a Bloomfield perspective, I don't know if it could have possibly gone worse. Conceded 4 goals, only registered 3 shots on goal, missed a penalty, and had a red card. I mean, I don't know what else you could possibly have go wrong. But for a Dolphins perspective, it's a perfect afternoon.
Well, if you're a Dolphins fan, you are very pleased with this result. CSI wins 4-0. We do get a chance to see women's soccer take the pitch at home once again this weekend. They will be back here on Sunday. However, the men will not be back here until September 9th. So about 9 days before our next men's soccer broadcast here from Dolphins Soccer Park. Our next broadcast once again will be the women's soccer match. That game is coming up on Sunday. Special start time on Sunday as well. Women will play most of their games this season at 11 a.m. ahead of a men's game, but on Sunday, they will face Bloomfield College at 1 p.m. So the Bears will be back this time for a women's soccer matchup here on CSI Sportsnet. But until then, this has been Joe Foreman alongside my broadcast partner, Aaron Cohen. And for all of us here at the College of Staten Island, we thank you for watching. Final score, CSI 4, Bloomfield College 0. Women's soccer back in action here on Sportsnet. Come this Sunday, be sure to tune in right back here on the ECC Network.